When this year is over and you look back, what is it that you want to accomplish? What is it you want to be able to say about the year? What's the story you want to tell? Is that story that you continued to create stellar content and that you were able to monetize that content? In this video, I want to dive into content creation goals, plans, and tactics to help you succeed as a content creator by sharing my own journey, the things that I've set before me, and the ways that I'm planning to approach and tackle the different challenges. Before I dive into my content marketing strategy for this year, I want to give you just a quick tip on figuring out what kind of videos that you can create. Now, I've been a blogger since 2014. It's one of the things I've done consistently for the last decade. And it's one of the things I regretted not starting a decade earlier. So in 2014, I began blogging, and I've been doing that ever since. And this is a year that I'm planning to take YouTube seriously by continuing to create content consistently and regularly, and take the content I'm already producing and repurpose it for YouTube as well. One of the things about being a blogger, particularly someone with a search engine optimization bent like myself, is that I have a lot of data to work with. If you have a website and you've ever used Google Search Console, you'll know what I'm talking about. So what I want to do is just give you a quick little tip on how I figured out why I wanted to do this particular video. The signal that I got from the data that I was receiving from the blogging that I was doing. All right, so this is a blog post that I published, and it's called Casting a Content Creation Vision, Setting Publishing and Distribution Goals for 2025 and Beyond. And you'll notice this is the outline for the YouTube video. This blog post, I actually published this on January 4th. So it's January 9th when I'm recording this. So that was 5 days ago. This is the Google Search Console, and I've got my website in here. And under the Discover tab, I had an unexpected success with this blog post. You can see here that this was a huge spike. I published it on the 4th. So the 4th comes in and it starts to go up, and then boom, the 5th spikes 422 impressions, 7 clicks. All the way to January 7th, we get almost 1,000 impressions and 11 clicks. And so this Discover part of the Search Console is kind of like the browse feature in YouTube. And so this tells me that my blog post hit a nerve and it's getting a ton of traction very quickly. And so what I decided to do is I'm going to create a YouTube video to do the same thing. And my expectation is that like I hit a nerve there, my video will also hit a nerve. And that's my hope. So for those of you that are bloggers and also YouTubers, there's a lot of data you can leverage in this Google Search Console to help you figure out what types of videos you could create and get a lot of traction. I've not done these types of videos where I get a lot of traction as a blog post, create a YouTube, and then see what happens. So I'll have to circle back around later and figure out if a hit as a blog always is a hit as a YouTube video. Sometimes it may not be, but if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below, and I'll circle back around at some point and do a video about that. In regards to my content marketing vision, I have a very specific tension point that's driving me to really get serious about YouTube and other income streams from my affiliate marketing. I have a vision at the end of the year. I want to be able to look back at this year and go, I was able to not only create and publish content, but I was able to actually figure out a way to monetize the content that I was creating. In my case, it's blogging, it's YouTubing, it's a variety of channels. In fact, I've also got a few books. And one of the things that I am is I'm also a freelancer. I wrote a book called Path of Freelancer. My blueprint on how to flourish is in here. I've been very successful at it. And that's allowed me to create a lot of content without having to figure out how to monetize it. And so this year for me, it's about figuring out how to do that. Because right now I get the opportunity to work part-time as a freelancer and earn over 6 figures as part of doing that. But what happens is if I want to earn more income, I have to log more hours because I bill hourly as a freelancer. What I want to be able to do this year is be able to earn more income without having to log hours, without be able to earn without it being dependent on my time. And so my goal this year is to figure out how to use that extra time because I work part-time. My goal is to get about 4 billable hours per day to hit my annual income goal. And then I use the rest of it to create content. That includes podcasting, blogging, writing my books, creating videos, courses, things like that. And this year, I want to figure out how to do that in such a way that I can get monetized. One other benefit of going down this road is work that I do with my clients is content marketing. So I'm helping them do the same things with their business that I'm doing for my business. I'm helping them figure out how to monetize the content they're creating to drive traffic to their website, generate leads, and convert those leads into clients. I'm learning a lot while I'm working with clients, but I can also learn a lot by doing these types of projects for myself, which I can then apply for my freelancing clients. So it's a win-win, and it creates a reinforcing cycle that continues to level up the work that I'm doing with my clients, as well as improving my own platform and building my own income streams, not dependent on my time. This year, I'm planning to set some new goals for my content creation. And so my recommendation for you is, if you have not set your goals for the year, in addition to figuring out what story you want to tell, figure out what are your specific goals that you want to accomplish. I'm going to talk about some of mine, and perhaps some of those will translate to you. There's this idea I have, which is building bricks for a wall. Building bricks for a wall that you don't necessarily know you're going to build. So I didn't necessarily know what my plan was or my vision was in detail. If you can imagine that you're driving from the East Coast to the West Coast, I imagine I was driving to the West Coast, but didn't know which state, which city in that state, which area in that city. And so now I'm at a point where I'm getting closer to that state, and now I need to narrow in on that. And I've got a lot of the bricks, a lot of the foundational pieces. I've been blogging for 10 years. I've got a podcast with over 100 episodes. I've been active on social media. So I've been building these different pieces. And now for me, it's a matter of figuring out how to tie these pieces together in a unifying effort towards specific goals. And so for me, I want to get serious about that content creation and a way to monetize it. And so one of my goals is to figure out how to earn $100,000 for my content creation business, separate from my freelancing business. So right now, I think of myself as having two jobs. I have my freelancing work, and that pays the bills. I earn a great living from it. I work part-time and earn over six figures. But my second business, which is the content creation, it's the books, it's the podcasting, it's the blogging, it's the YouTubing. That piece of the puzzle hasn't been financially viable. So 2 years ago, I earned several $100s from content creation. And in 2024, I was able to earn $2,000. So what I want to do is make a leap from 2,000 to 100,000. And that may not be possible in a single year. It's very unlikely. But I'm going to aim for that and see how close I can get to it, and then move towards that over time. Now, one of the things I like to do is break these big numbers into small pieces, because if we can break them into small pieces, it's a lot more manageable, less overwhelming. So one of the ways I think about $100,000 per year is to think of it as a daily number. And so for me to earn $100,000 a year means I need to figure out how to earn $274 per day. $100,000 per year comes down to $274 per day. So that's a manageable number. Right now I'm earning, if I take my $2,000 per year in 2024, that's about $5 per day. So I need to increase that by $269 to get to my goal. To get to 100,000 as a content creator, I could go in 1,000 different directions. So how do I figure out which of the directions, which of the goals, which of the actions are the best fit? And so the first step is identifying what are the low-hanging fruit options. What are the things that are low effort but high impact? So they don't take a lot of time, they don't take a lot of money, but they can generate a lot of results, or they can generate results fast. So those are the kind of things that I'm looking for in these first few months, is to be able to maximize those types of opportunities. For example, on YouTube, I want to publish a lot more videos so I can get to my view count in order to monetize my channel. And I produce a ton of video podcasts, but I've really, for the most part, have only released the full episodes on YouTube. In 2024, I did start putting some clips from different podcast episodes and different interviews that people were doing with me. But I have this vast library of content, whether in my podcast, that I can be slicing into little pieces, and 2-minute clips, 5-minute clips, 10-minute clips, and publishing those as individual videos on YouTube. And I've started to do that more intentionally through the month. That's a low-hanging fruit opportunity. All I have to do is go through the podcast, find those gems inside of these episodes and pull them out. And that's low effort, but high, it has the potential to get a lot of views, generate subscribers, and get activity going for the channel. Now, for any type of content creation business, I think of it as there's 3 pillars, or that's where you're creating it, you're recording it, you're writing it, and you're building those things. You're designing it if it's visual. And so you got the creation piece, then you have the publishing piece, where you're actually taking the content and you're publishing it somewhere. You might be publishing it on your website, on YouTube, in some other place, in some other form. And then you have the distribution. And so you're pushing that content into different places. And sometimes the publishing and the distribution overlap. And a lot of, when you publish something to YouTube, it is also distributing that video to users. But that distribution could also be done in other ways. So I'm also experimenting with different distribution with some of my content, particularly in my podcast. When I had my political news website in 2006, 2007, this was one of the things I did a lot of. I created content, and then I had distribution partners that would take that content and they would publish it on their blogs and their social media and their places. So they were taking it and running with it. And that gave me a lot more exposure, a lot more views, and drove a lot of traffic. As I look out across the internet, across social media, it's getting noisier. There's more people that are doing things, saying things. AI is adding a whole nother layer. And so it's chaotic in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of opportunities in that chaos. But just like if someone were climbing Mount Everest, they would need a Sherpa to help them up there unless they've done it a million times. As content creators, we're that guide. We're someone that can help others within a particular topic or area of expertise navigate the noise, navigate the chaos, and help them move towards the goal. That guidance, when I think about it, is really about trust. Someone placing their trust in someone else. A hiker placing their trust in the Sherpa to get them to the top of Mount Everest without dying and getting back. And that's part of how I think about brands. Building a personal brand. Hey, here's who I am. Think about it as a reputation. I'm building a reputation as a trustworthy person. In the case of freelancing, I'm a trustworthy person to help you figure out how to flourish as a freelancer. Or if you're a small business owner, hey, I'm a trusted person to help you navigate the chaos that small business leadership entails and how to navigate through that in order to level yourself up so that you can level up your business. So people come to trust me because I demonstrate that trust. I share the truth. I share information. I teach. I'm generous. And by demonstrating trustworthiness, then people can place their trust in me. That trust and authority allows me an opportunity to continue to nurture that trust and to create more value and give more value to those that are listening or watching or following along in any other way. Let's talk about ways to make money. As I think about the next year and how I can monetize my content, I'm just thinking, how do I monetize fundamentally? How does someone monetize something? So you can either provide a service to a client or an intermediary. So that's something that I do as a freelancer. I provide a service to business owners. I also work with marketing agencies. Sometimes I'm working with them providing search engine optimization type of service or consulting for their firm, so that they can then offer that to their client. You can sell someone else's product or service. You can create content and a platform for others to consume and then offer sponsorship and advertisement to the audience in order to generate an income. You can also sell a subscription to that content to either access it or get rid of the advertisements or to give exclusive content. You can also create content for other platforms and share the income in some way. So that would be YouTube. Essentially, we're creating videos for YouTube, and then YouTube is selling advertising and then sharing the advertising with us. And then one of the last ways is you can lend money, and then you can earn interest from the people that you lend the money to. So those are fundamentally ways to earn money. And so as I'm thinking about how to earn money as a content creator, I'm thinking through that just fundamental basics. And then I'm just taking that as a framework and overlaying it on the opportunities. And that's something that you can do, is you can take this list and figure out, okay, now that I understand the basics, where could I do this? Where could I do that? What is that in your hand? That's a famous line from the book of Exodus when God is asking Moses, what's in your hand? And in his case, it was the staff. That idea of what's in your hand? So what's in your hand is the question I'd ask you. And that's the question I'm asking myself. It's what's in my hand? What do I have? Well, I mentioned I've got this book, Path of the Freelancer. I've got another book, The Jump. I'm working on my third book, Path, from the Garden to the Cross. I've got my blog. I've got my podcast. But when it comes to the books, I've got these two books. I've got one that's this Garden to the Cross is about 90% finished. I have another book that I'm working on. It's about 50% finished. And I've got some other ideas for a fiction book, a comic book. And so those are some things I'm exploring as well. The next thing is I've got some courses I've created. I've created some courses around Path of the Freelancer. One of the achievements of Path of the Freelancer is how to build a steady stream of paying clients. I have a course about that. So I have several different courses. I would love to create a course. There's 8 achievements in this book. I'd love to have a course for each of the 8 achievements. And so there's a lot of other courses I could be creating. It's an opportunity, what about the ones I already have? And I have an SEO course that I've started creating. How do I leverage those, the ones that I have, and should I build any others? So that's another area. I want to monetize my YouTube channel. And so right now when I wrote this blog post, I had 68 subscribers. And I think since then I've gotten 5 more. in the last week. I've got 952 watch hours, but the 4,000 watch hours that you need actually have to be within a 365-day period. So only 229 of my hours are eligible. So I'm not as far along as I originally thought because of the 365 cutoff limit. That means I'm about 6-7% of the way towards my goal. So my goal is to figure out how to get to 1,000 subscribers and to generate the 4,000 watch hours. And can I do that by the end of this year? I'm certainly going to do everything I can to move towards that as quickly as possible. Whether I achieve it this year or not, we'll find out. But that's my goal. And so what can I do to get there? Now, one of the opportunities that I have to be able to help accelerate that process is I do have a website, have a blog. I get thousands of visitors to this. I have social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I have all these channels, and I can leverage these external channels to help drive more views to YouTube. And that's something that I've done, and that's why I've been able to get almost 1,000 watch hours with my podcast and other things. I can take those platforms that I have and the influence I have on those platforms and be more intentional about driving that traffic specifically to YouTube and specifically to the content on it. If you look at the screen here, you can see that here's how viewers have found your videos. I've 34% of my views have come from external sources. And if we dive into that, my website is 15% of that. Facebook is 8%, YouTube is 6%, and LinkedIn is about 2%. So those are things that I can definitely pick up. Now, the next thing I want to do, I mentioned Path of the Freelancer in my book. I launched a website with this. It's called pathofthefreelancer.com. You can check it out. What I've been working on over the last few months is updating the website. And there's some things that I did that worked and some things that I did that didn't work. And so I'm updating those. It's on Joomla, which is a great CMS platform if you're looking for one. I'm getting the platform upgraded to Joomla 4 and then ultimately Joomla 5. And that'll also using a theme system, a builder, page builder called UTheme. And those tools will just give me a lot more control and speed and flexibility for the website to do some cool things. So I'm getting rid of all the things that didn't work on the website, and then I'm bolstering up the things that did work, and then I'm positioning the site to be able to do a lot more with it. And both on pathofthefreelancer.com and my website, jasonscottmontoya.com, what I'm doing is I'm also positioning them to better help me promote my YouTube content, as well as advertisements, sponsors, and affiliate marketing. So I've set up different banner systems to better monetize the content that I've created and the traffic that I'm driving to these websites. I'm going to specifically integrate the YouTube piece more intentionally in terms of hitting the goals that I need to hit to monetize it. But then on my other platforms, like my website, I'm going to do things to better position it to drive more income from affiliates, sponsorships, and things like that. I'm also going to be creating content specifically around the affiliate programs that I've been involved with. So as a freelancer, there's a lot of tools that I've just come to love for accounting and invoicing and time tracking and social media sharing, all these different things. And some of those tools have affiliate programs. So I've joined them, and I've started creating content on my blog to be able to promote that. And those are types of videos that I would like to create. And it kind of gets into the next topic I want to talk about, is this idea of topic domination. What I want to be able to do is, as a freelancer, you have a lot of questions. There are a lot of stages of freelancing. There are a lot of challenges you overcome. I want to be able to create all the content in a way that I've dominated the topic. And so whether you're searching on YouTube or Google or on social media, and you type in freelancing, you type in a question about freelancing, I want to be showing up in all those different places. So I'm planning to create a lot of content. I've already created a lot of written content for freelancing, but now I need to shift towards creating some video content, and particularly free content that lives on these platforms. There are a couple other things I'm experimenting with too. There's a website called Hubpages.com. You write articles, and then you do, like YouTube, you do a revenue share, but it's written content instead of video content. It's hard to tell whether it's a viable option or not, but I had a unique opportunity because I had a lot of abandoned content with one particular client a few years ago, and that content didn't end up being used, but it's not the type of content that I would ever publish on my website. So I was thinking, what is there something I can do with this, because it was all created, it's very rich and dense content, and it was optimized for search engine queries. And so I thought, okay, I've got like 20 articles here. They're rich in SEO. I'm going to publish them on Hubpages, and let's see if they can get ranked, if we can get these ranked and generate some income. Maybe it's not a lot, but if I'm trying to get $274 a day, every few dollars might help. I've also set up high yield savings accounts, both personally and for the business. And this is essentially, if you haven't heard of it, you set up one of these accounts, and right now the interest rates are around 4%. So if you got a good amount of money in there, you can earn several $100s or maybe even several $1,000s per year. And it's just sitting there. Our money was already sitting in a savings account, checking account. And so there's an opportunity to actually earn a little bit of money from that. And it's a low hanging fruit. It's easy to set up, doesn't take a lot of effort, and it has an impact. And so those low effort, high impact opportunities. So think about what those might be for you. Ultimately, for me, it's really about figuring out what can I do to direct my platforms to drive me towards accomplishing my goal of getting monetized as a YouTuber. It's leveraging my platforms to figure out how to drive revenue through affiliate marketing, and it's creating content that's driving towards those two goals. And for me, my content revolves around the idea of growing yourself, growing your business, and growing others. And then the fourth category would be getting inspired towards those aims. My podcast is called Share Life, and it's about stories and systems to live better and work smarter. And that's the slogan that I have on my YouTube channel as well. So I've created all this content, and now I'm figuring out how to fuse all the things that I've done together, focusing that energy into something productive so that I can accomplish my goal of earning $100,000 as a content creator. Is that realistic? I don't know. We're going to find out. What I'd encourage you to do is think about how much money do you want to make as a content creator? And then think about, what do you have in your hand? What are the things that you have access to? What are the things you've already created? What are the things you want to create? And what are the ways that you can leverage that to move towards your goal? And perhaps a few of my ideas and a few things I'm working on will help give you ideas and inspire you as you go along your way. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, share them in the comments below. Tell me what your plan is, what your vision is. By the end of this year, what's the story you want to tell? What are the goals you want to accomplish? Share with me in the comments below.